And I see a green thing. That means maybe it's working. Hello and welcome to PotatoCast. This is the StimHack Online Cache Refresh Season 4 Top Cut. Today I am joined by the illustrious Neuropanther, Michael.
How's it going, everyone?
And we're going to be watching YankeeFlatline and Presheaf do battle. So we'll just switch over here and I'm just going to do a quick check and make sure that we're getting some audio. And be right back. Check and make sure that we're getting some audio. And
Cool.
And I see a green thing. That means maybe it's working. Great. And it looks like it's actually working today. So we are all set.
Oh, sweet. They can actually hear us this time?
I hope so. I checked over on YouTube and went back a couple seconds, and I heard your dulcet tones. So
Excellent.
yeah. So
And we have the game up on screen.
I sure hope so.
Here, let me just click the link so I can see.
Yeah, I think we're good. Cool. So actually, I don't.
Yeah,
think
it looks like a charm.
I don't think I played
Fantastic.
against either of these people during the Swiss. Did you play either of them?
I played James. I played YankeeFlatline in the Swiss, and he rolled me.
Okay.
2 games, neither one was close.
Okay, I gotcha. So what was he on? I mean, Ace is pretty good. It's just got some built-in tempo. Was he going for like a kill plan, or was he just fast advance and score some agendas behind Ace, or what's he
So
doing?
the particular thing that he was on that was problematic for me, I was on a Mopus Econ engine,
Mm-hmm.
which, as you know, takes a few turns to get going,
Sure.
and I was not on Kit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I got into the situation where he had 2 or 3 ice on the remote very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I wasn't able to challenge the remote fast enough, and he just got out to 4 points.
Gotcha.
It looks like, however, this game Presheaf is being Kit, finding that Gordian blade super early means you can challenge a play like this.
Yeah,
He does
absolutely.
and gets rewarded with 2 points here.
Yeah.
And YankeeFlatline doesn't have a punitive or anything to punish with.
Yeah. That was a bold play by Yankee to start with that.
I can understand why though.
Sure.
You open yourself up to like a turn 1 indexing, which kind of sucks, but if you get the turn 1 indexing happening, then you get a Vitruvius with a counter at least. The decision to advance and go for the counter might be the main question I have.
Mm-hmm. And we'll see. I think people are.
So Presheaf pokes HQ a few times, finds an MCA. Good news, gets to trash an MCA. Bad news, there's another one that YankeeFlatline can throw right into that remote with a roto turret in front of it if he wants, or chooses to go with the nausea instead. So if Presheaf spends his entire turn, he cannot steal the Sikawa project.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting to see that Presheaf has the source in his deck
Yes.
today.
That's a nice bit of tech that I think is actually kind of important in Cache Refresh.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Corpse get 2 biotics, I think. They get, if out of ASA, they also get calibration testings.
Yep.
And other decks, like Tenon and what do you call it? Titan,
Yeah.
they get some nice fast advance tools in the forms of like a Trick of Light.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no clot. There's only really one way to counter the fast advance plan, and that is make it harder to score the agenda in terms of advancement counters.
Yep. Absolutely. There's one fall guy and then dummy box as well to protect the source if you're so inclined.
I don't think Dummy Box works because
Oh, right.
Dummy Box is runner trash.
Gotcha.
Or
Gotcha.
sorry, Dummy
Warp
Box is
trash.
warp trash.
Gotcha. Cool. Good talk. Good talk. I know how to play this game. I've played it before.
So what we've seen here, YankeeFlatline's gone with a very interesting strategy so far. 2 ice on the remote. So it's very similar to what I saw in my game. 2 ice on the remote, going for very aggressive agenda plays early. leaving the centrals open for potential plays. I think this game might look very different if Presheaf had an indexing in the opening hand.
Mm-hmm.
And God forbid a mad dash.
Yeah, that's fair. What do you think about Presheaf's decision to hang on to the careful planning and not? I mean, careful planning. That's why, because it's not a deep data mining, which is what I thought it was when I looked at the art. There goes that question.
Yeah.
But I do like careful planning as well
let's see.
as a way to kind of bust open this remote. So it'll be interesting if you can get the source down. Then it's going to be really hard for Yankee to get anything that involves anything like install advanced plays on a server one.
Right now, it seems like what Presheaf is looking for is just money.
Yeah.
Money's in a bit short supply on that side of the table.
Yeah. Since he's on Gordian, I'm assuming he's not on Inversificator, so
my guess is probably not, but
yeah.
who really knows? It could be anything.
Yeah. So probably either Proco or Magnum
Careful
Opus.
planning is an interesting card in this. It's one of those interesting bits of tech that I think you don't really see outside of Cache Refresh, and B, even within Cache Refresh, I think you probably don't see outside of Kit, but I think is actually very reasonable out of Kit. It's basically an inside job, and you have a breaker that breaks whatever the inner ice is.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's up there with with tinkering in terms of it's probably cheaper than tinkering most of the time in terms of ways that you can bust open a remote.
Yeah, and actually, it's even it has to be remote server, doesn't it? Oh, never mind. I was gonna make some brilliant point about how it's great with indexing because it's for the entire turn, but it turns out I'm completely wrong.
Nice. I'm right there with you, buddy.
We see Cyberdelia come down for Presheaf. I wonder if that's an MU booster or if that's kind of the console in disguise.
Yeah, I think that it's a reasonable choice out of Kit. I played it in a couple of rounds. If you don't need something like Daredevil, which is kind of good anti-Obokata tech, then your console choices are pretty limited, and Cyberdelia is an MU, which is helpful for keeping deep data mining up and seeing the battering ram in hand. He probably has some MU cramping later on in the game.
Wow, so we have 3 barriers. Obviously, not trying to not make the server weak to Kit here, but 3 barriers on the remote. This is potentially really bad for YankeeFlatline, because Presheaf can just drop this battering ram, pay only 2 for it with modded, and he's good to go on this remote server. Now, might not feel safe going for it. Might think that has to drop both of the breakers before he can make a play on the remote server. But
yeah, and let's see, just looking to see if there are any other ice that Presheaf knows about. So I don't think he accessed any from HQ. Maybe the roto turret.
let me scroll up and see.
So he has seen a roto turret, so he might be afraid of hitting that.
Yeah, that would probably make him less likely to run the remote, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, he can careful planning the middle ice if he's worried about it being a roto turret, and then has Kit for the outermost.
Yeah, I like that. That works. That's a very well, can't do it now.
Yeah, he's
I guess.
couple credits off of that for sure.
Well, and also careful planning has to be the first click.
Right, you are.
Since it's a priority, since I am mousing over it, I now know that it is a priority.
Did you know that each AI had been tasked with finding a solution to the same problem, but with different variables as well?
I do now.
Yeah, that's true. It looks like they all chose to, glow and go up.
Ooh. That's another, with the board as it stands right now, that is a fantastic answer to remote ice right there, that Maxwell James.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a turn too late right now. YankeeFlatline's going to be able to score out this GFI, go up to 6 points, and this is very much the danger zone for ASA Group. Once they're on game point, every draw is potentially live if you don't know that they are completely clean of agendas and calibration testing in hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that since Presheaf has corporate defector out, he's got a little bit more leverage here because if he takes a little while to hit HQ a few times and make sure that he knows what threats are available. If he sees a biotic, he'll be able to throw down the source, and
Yeah.
at least keep him from immediately top decking a win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Presheaf isn't in terrible shape. It's just the play has to be pretty tight from here, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
One thing that Corporate Defector is not great at is being able to see cards off of an ultraviolet clearance. I think we might see YankeeFlatline go for that soon for that exact reason. Try to, potentially even then install things on HQ so it's harder to gain the important information of, do you have the win?
Mm-hmm.
We see the source come down. So revealing that bit of tech, just saying it's going to be harder for you to actually score agendas at any point in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Did YankeeFlatline install in server 1 the turn before?
Last turn, no. Last turn he just finished. No, last
Oh
turn
yeah,
he
it did actually. It looks like did. Yeah, YankeeFlatline. Or that was this turn after the source came down. Never mind.
Yeah, so double acing HQ. It's interesting. I wonder if he's trying to bait runs on HQ right now, or if he knows that with corporate defector on the table, he might end up having to click draw into stuff that he doesn't want Presheaf to immediately scoop.
Yeah, potentially that. I do think that part of it is just the idea of drawing 4 cards at once.
Mm-hmm.
That Presheaf, like Presheaf's game plan with Corporate Defector, in some ways revolves around knowing when to run HQ.
Mm-hmm.
When you draw 4 cards with UVC, you might just have the win next turn. So that's very dangerous. And I think you're right. I think it baits runs on HQ, which could potentially tax him out of resources.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, and sure enough, he does draw the win here.
There it is. So, okay, so this is
we have officially entered the danger zone.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. I think from Yankees' point of view right now, he might end up. Okay, I see. So he's trying to spread things out a little bit, make him check remotes, and he'll
right, because the win could now be in server 1 or server 2, pretty easily. It could also be in HQ. It could also be on the top of R&D. This is the problem with letting a deck like Asa get to game point when they have so many ways to fast advance agendas. They can have up to 5 fast advance cards in their deck.
Oh boy. Okay, that was interesting. So I think if I was Yankee right now, what I might do is start pumping away on MC austerity policy, because he's going to have to deal with that immediately. And I think that putting the 2 calibration testings in here might be a little risky because now Presheaf definitely has to challenge this, and if he is able to get through cheap enough, it looks like he will with the battering ram, then he'll be able to clear this out.
Yeah, putting both down is kind of risky. I think putting 1 down is fine because that gives you the double install advance pop 2 calibration testing win line the next turn.
Yeah.
But putting both down just means one's liable to be trashed.
Yeah, so if
now Presheaf has fewer clicks to do it because of MCA. But that's the other thing, is putting them in this server gives Presheaf even more of a reason to run because he already wants to get that MCA off the table.
Yeah.
Does Presheaf have enough money, I guess, is the real question.
Well, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 subs to break, so it'll cost him 2, 4, 6 credits to get in. 3 to trash Ash. That's 9 credits.
Funnily enough, that's a test run, not a modded. Never mind. If that test run were a modded modded for Cyberdelia would basically be clicking for a credit, but also dropping a Cyberdelia at this point.
Okay. All right. Looks like he doesn't go for it, so that's going to be game for Yankee.
It is. Yeah, this ace deck is tough.
Yeah.
It asks questions that it's very difficult to deal with in the current cash refresh format.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was that's cool. It's really strong play on Yankees' part to get that
Yeah.
fast advance through the source. That's very cool.
Yeah. Honestly, good play by Presheaf too, I think.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just a few things came a few turns too late, and that was the difference this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you can see a world where if Presheaf nabs that Vitruvius out of HQ, then he just has a few extra turns to set up, draw an indexing, and potentially the game's his instead.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. No, I mean you're right. I think that Presheaf played it well, but the tempo was just a little bit too much here. Too many.
It looks like Presheaf has chosen to corp the next game, decided he didn't like that matchup, wanted to try his corp instead. Do you know, I know what Yankee's on as far as his runner. Do you know what Presheaf is on as far as his corp?
Nope. Oops.
We'll find out soon, I suppose.
Here we go. Watch. There we go. I'm a spectator. Cool. Yeah, it looks like we're good. All right.
Oh, we don't get to see the envy ram, I guess.
I think yeah. Once they pick NVRAM, then it shows up face down. You can mouse over it to see it. But right now, okay. So let's see. You got
Okay,
Proco, Sure Gamble, StimHack, and SMC. That is a nice NVRAM.
that's a fantastic envy ram. Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So,
So, on Presafe's side, it looks like CI. Yes, is one of the other scumbags on CI this tournament.
those guys. Did you play
I
CI?
I say fully admitting I was one of those guys.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I played an abusive Ag Infusion deck, so I was like, Obokata and Ben Musashi are still pretty good. So
Well, weirdly, I think this is about the fairest this CI is going to get.
sure, yeah.
In the sense of you don't have VLC. Well, no one does anymore, but you don't have VLC. All you don't have blue level clearance. All you have is the one big clearance, and some of let's see. There were a lot of good ice, especially Fairchild 3, in Flashpoint Cycle that are gone now.
That's fair. That's true.
So this is about as fair as CI is going to get in Cash Refresh, I think.
All right, so we see a little bit of indexing tech going up. Seems good.
Yeah. Don't know exactly what mix of agendas Presheaf is on, but if he is on elective upgrades, indexing on turn 1 or 2 is definitely the nightmare scenario, and it's the most important thing to make sure it doesn't happen. Okay, it looks like we see Ikawa, so probably not on elective, but still getting an Ikawa stolen turn 1 or 2 sucks. It's worth a lot of points, and they're real points.
It is.
Finally finding some men that run ice. That seems important. Meanwhile, on YankeeFlatline's side, we saw Sure Gamble We saw professional contacts come down. We've got a breaker on the field, a breaker in the hand, an SMC in hand, an SMC on the NVRAM. This is a pretty good position,
Yeah.
I would say.
With liberated in hand and professional contacts, if Presheaf doesn't, start making things happen, it looks like now he's getting a couple of end the run A's, so he might well do that. Then Yankee's looking to be in a pretty good spot to start challenging him. And seeing Mad Dash means that Yankee is probably on indexing here.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, as I said, I did play him in the Swiss. If I remember correctly, he is on indexing. One of the things that I'm sure YankeeFlatline wishes he had on NVRAM and is probably drawing for right now is 2 copies of Inside Job. They make early remote plays like this a lot less attractive. And depending on what the outermost ice is on the remote, they can potentially get you into a remote that you just couldn't even dream of getting into in the late game. But we see a quick Vitruvius score. I think this is correct by Presheaf. I think Presheaf has to... YankeeFlatline's already dangerously close to fully set up. Presheaf needs to try to sneak out agendas like this, even if it means leaving HQ open. Ooh, the click 4 Ikawa.
Oh, no.
Ooh.
God, it's right up there with the 3 credit NAPD contract access.
Yeah.
Worst feelings in Netrunner.
Not the best. There are definitely better things that can happen in Netrunner. A bit awkwardly, all of the ice the Presheaf has drawn that actually says end the run so far has been a barrier. So we're in a similar situation to last game, just YankeeFlatline's on more credits, where the battering ram from hand could just be a blowout.
Yeah. Okay.
Chooses to make some money. Shows the Ikawa, which YankeeFlatline's already seen.
Yep. We'll see if...
So quite a bit of influence here. I see 2 celebrity gifts here. Quite a bit of influence going to pure money, which kind of makes sense with what we see. We see, ice that's meant to tax. We see it's clear Presheaf actually wants to res a lot of this ice.
Yeah.
So.
And now we'll see whether Presheaf next turn goes for an install advance with an NGO, since he showed the Ikawa, but didn't show the NGO.
Yeah, and at this point in the game, Presheaf has to think there's very little chance that YankeeFlatline doesn't have an SMC or a barrier breaker somewhere.
Yep.
So he knows that the Satyr adaptive barrier by itself is probably not that secure. 2 copies of Restore in hand for Presheaf. I think that's an interesting include. I wonder, there are a number of things that's good to recur that we've already seen. We see the NGO front. If you face an Anarch that has any form of cutlery, it's always good to get your ice back. The Ash in hand is a huge one since you only get 1. Also NGO front. It's a nice... you can click for 5 in a turn instead of clicking for 3.
Yeah, and I wonder. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of ice, so he might not be on Jinja, but that'd be a fun spicy include.
If he is on Jinja, I wonder if we see him actually hold off on this ultraviolet clearance. Chooses not to, so either decides that it's better playing the clearance now, or is not on Jinja.
Yeah, just a fair decision to make.
What do you think he throws down here? Throws down the MCA.
Yep.
I think that's what I would have done.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah. Force him to have a barrier breaker here. I think it's worth forcing the install here. You don't actually lose points if he lays down the barrier breaker, goes in and trashes the MCA.
Yeah.
And, oh, that's interesting. Ichi on 4 strength. on the outside of the server becomes rather expensive for nanotech.
Yeah, that feels pretty good.
So potentially an Ichi install advanced CFC, YankeeFlatline can get in, but it's costly, which might open up a window for the Ikawa the turn after.
Mm-hmm.
And if he lets you score it, that's great too.
Yeah, I mean, if I was in if I was in Presheaf's position right now, I might just start putting, whatever I care about losing the least in that remote, and the Ichi on the outside of it to make him go low, because, it's not. He doesn't. Presheaf hasn't really seen what Yankee's full econ setup is. It's this interesting single advanced NGO.
Goes for the wall of static on the outset. So if he does install Ichi on this server, it's going to be easy for nanotech to break.
Yeah.
Unless he trashes when installing. So YankeeFlatline kind of calls the bluff here. Says, I don't think either I don't think it's an agenda, or I'm okay with you scoring a 4-2 or Vitruvius with a counter.
So like here I might finish off the NGO and then put the MCA austerity policy in there and start banging on it.
I think that's what I'd do, yeah. Because the MCA is still important enough that YankeeFlatline's probably going to want to get in there, but once YankeeFlatline does, that opens up the ability to throw down the CFC excavation or throw down the Ikawa, something along those lines. Man. And he does go with exactly the play suggested.
God, we are so smart. Don't you love this game?
Why aren't we in here?
Yeah.
Oh, right, because I'm actually bad at Netrunner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, me too.
Because I got swept by these guys instead of, yeah. So what do you think about the current game state? I think Presheaf has the ability to make a fairly strong play in this remote soon.
Yeah.
But after that point, what do you think happens?
Well, I think that actually, the timing on this MC austerity policy is a little bit awkward, because, a turn from now, when he gets up to 3 counters on it, okay, well, I guess it's a moot point because he's just going to go ahead and clear it out most likely. But I was going to say that
and actually, dropping the Ash here means that the Ash can get trashed on the same run as MCA, which is kind of bad for Presheaf. Ash is, well, I guess Ash keeps him out here, so never mind.
So I think that Presheaf will have a pretty good shot at install advanced Ikawa next turn. I have to do the math
after scoring the CFC.
Sorry, no, yeah. What I was saying is that with the 2 daily cast on the board, let's see. Well, I'll just wait until they spend some traces, and then I won't have to do any math.
Well, the daily casts give YankeeFlatline all but the exact right amount of money to get into the server. YankeeFlatline has to spend 5 to get into that server. It gets 4 each turn from those casts while they're ticking down. So it's fairly trivial to get back into the server, but actually doing so profitably could be difficult.
Yeah,
I guess. Chooses to go for HQ. Thinks that, probably rightly, thinks a bunch of cards have been drawn. There's a decent chance that there's something in HQ worth poking.
Yep.
Just finds another restore. Do you think Presheaf goes for it? I mean, YankeeFlatline's going to hit drip enough money to click for a credit, run back in, and trash the MCA. Well, and at that point, you can install Advance the Ikawa, I guess, but then YankeeFlatline could again click for a credit, get back in.
Well, I think here he'll probably just hit the CFC excavation contract and get it out of hand.
Yeah, I think that might be the best play here.
Yeah, and then we'll see if he decides that he wants to put another ice over server 1, or whether he thinks he can just jam an Ikawa. And I think
might be safer to put another ice. I mean, at this point, the Ichi doesn't do much. It's just 2 credits. So probably another Satyr. That brings them both to strength 5. And Satyr's relatively expensive. Okay, so it goes for the restore. Yeah, okay, that's another. I like this play. because the ash is super valuable.
Mm-hmm.
YankeeFlatline isn't super rich, can't break the ash trace, and also trash the two things in the remote.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, that's a really good play.
Yeah, I like this. This is better than the play I was thinking of. And now with 3 counters on MCA, can just score the Ikoa from hand. And at this point, now YankeeFlatline is in the danger zone. And that toll booth is a great ice to put on the remote.
Yeah.
If he chooses, if he thinks that he wants to make another play out of this remote, toll booth is a great ice to have there.
Mm-hmm.
YankeeFlatline already knows that this indexing is going to have trouble, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the Maker's Eye, maybe not this turn because, Ikoa project, but a turn later.
Mm-hmm.
Another UVC. What's the commentator meme we're supposed to do while CI's on stream? Making money drawing cards?
Yeah, that's what it does. That's what they
Yeah.
do.
That's all they do. Making money drawing cards. What would you install here?
Oh, sorry. I saw Alpha joined the game and I was really confused because I saw
The icebreaker.
I was like, what the? I didn't know
that
was
rotated.
refresh legal. Yeah. So, oh, that's interesting. So you just installed the CFC in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, YankeeFlatline saying, I think you installed something of value, or at the very least, something I might want to trash. Running with 1 click left, so thinks it might be an Ikoa put in there for safekeeping.
Yeah. We do see a Jinja in Presheaf's hand now. So
Yeah.
probably too late to be useful at this point, but...
Yeah, at this point, probably. So this will get YankeeFlatline up to 2 points. Needs a few more. And actually, what I might have done with my install here is throw an Ichi on the outside of R&D. You can't let the subs fire on R&D when you go in for something like a Maker's Eye or indexing unless it's literally the last click that you need to ever run.
Mm-hmm.
Indexing doesn't do anything because of Miraju. Yeah, so I guess indexing already doesn't do anything because of Miraju, so maybe you're not too worried about the central multi-axis since there's only one Maker's Eye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe the Ichi on the outside there isn't the best play. I don't know. This game is hard.
Yeah.
We do see the so trashes the ash, goes back in.
Yep. So there's another restore in hand. So we'll see whether... Okay, so he's just going to power up a little bit. He's got plenty of barriers to show off.
Yeah.
The Eli. Oh, shows an NGO and an Eli. Okay. So... Yeah, so he needs to make this remote just a little bit more taxing to have a credible install advance with like alternating NGOs and Ikoa. Which
he agrees with you. Toll booth is a good ice for attacks.
Yeah.
It's it's one of the most obnoxious. Let's see, there are ways around the on encounter effect, but not with the big box that YankeeFlatline has chosen.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, the only real answer is Fen, or that card that you see at the very right, the rightmost position in YankeeFlatline's hand, Inside Job.
Oh yeah, that's a good card.
That's pretty good against Toll Booth, to say the least.
Interesting. So Presheaf let the indexing hit, knowing that he'll be able to use Miraju to bounce him.
Yeah. I wonder if this is a value indexing. I wonder if this is just I want to see the top 5 cards. And force you to spend 2 credits. Okay, so isn't using this as a vamp, actually wants to get the fresh access. but probably, do you think forcing Presheaf to draw an agenda here?
Oh, he declined to do the
Chooses
draw.
not to draw.
Yeah, the draw is optional,
Yeah.
so that makes sense.
Yeah, so keeps lowers the density of R&D here.
Yep.
With that Miraju.
That's just numbers.
And YankeeFlatline does not hit, it looks like.
Yeah, so
Satyr on that barrier, Satyr adaptive barrier on that remote isn't terrible. I mean, they would both be 6 strength at this point.
okay, so he goes for the
Jams
Ikuwa.
the Ikuwa.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable
Well,
play.
we have some bad news for him. Inside Job is going to really take that remote and make a mockery of it.
Yeah. So we'll see how this
Inside
goes.
Job is such a powerful effect in Cash Refresh.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what he hits off this Maker's Eye.
We'll see.
Vitruvius.
All right.
Yeah, that's game for YankeeFlatline, isn't it? Inside Job here.
So I just run it. That's
Oh, even better.
there.
Force him to spend the money, jack out, and then just go back in with Inside Job.
Yeah, still loses the 3. So he may decide at this point just to, no, okay, yeah, good call. So if he inside
Yeah,
jobs
let him
here,
bounce.
then he should end up with what he needs to steal the Ikuwa.
Yeah, because he needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 credits to break, so has exactly enough to steal.
Oh man.
Calculated.
7 points, 0 credits left. Netrunner.
Winning
actually is
Netrunner the
nice.
right way.
Yeah. No wasted actions. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. Very nice. So there you have it. I thought he
Yeah.
was being saucy. Yeah. So we'll wait a minute and see if these folks want to join us for a chin wag.
Yeah, I think James at least said he was going to jump into the call afterwards for a quick rundown of how the games went, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man, something I didn't even think of. A card that was on Envy Ram that he didn't pull off but would have done almost the exact same thing there, Stim Hack.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
even if he didn't have the Inside Job in hand, had a way to get into that remote with enough money this turn.
Pretty good. All right. Let's see if I can. Great. Man, I feel so professional.
Ooh.
Let's see if they'll join us. Yeah, those were great games.
They were, yeah. But glad I got to spectate him. I mean, you expect nothing less from the cut. The cut in this tournament, historically, has always been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
And these games were no exception.
Yeah, great games. Hey, congratulations,
Good game.
James. Nice work.
Hey, congrats.
Man, I was like, oh, that's probably an NGO, but I gotta check it anyway.
Yep. Yeah. No, that was Hey, and now we've got Presheaf Carl here. How you
Hey,
doing?
Thanks for the games.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
yeah, you
really
too.
exciting to watch. Thanks for letting us spectate and talk about them.
Oh yeah.
So, did you guys make any changes to your decks before these matches, or were you teched, or was this just kind of what you've been playing, or what was your strategies going in?
I think so far I've been playing a lot of different types of CI. I've been playing this neural EMP, brain rewiring kill. But now that Jinja is out, it seemed like a fun thing to try. So that was the extent of my changes, I think.
Gotcha.
Glacier CI, yeah. I've been playing, my last 3 games have been against kit players, so I just took all the code gates out of my deck.
Makes sense. Was
Like who was on it? I mean Mike was on it or Carl was on it. And who else were the last 2 rounds I played against? Crit Hit D20 was on kit, and Confast was on kit too.
Yeah.
So
Carl, was the source something you've had in your deck this entire time, or was the source,
Yeah, I've actually been keeping this on my deck the entire time. It's not been great, but it's been very fun to play with.
Yeah,
I mean, it does a lot of things for you. It lets you sort of put it down when the opponent is on 5 points, and they can't just put like never ban stuff in their remote and force you to check it, which is nice.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. It was also interesting, James, to see your counterplay with the double calibration testing. To actually get it right.
Yeah.
yeah, I drew those 2 cards, and I'm like, oh dang, is he gonna be willing to run that? I didn't think he was. The 1 counter MCA in there, you know.
Yeah. They're right.
It's a tough call. That remote was there was another wall of static and a nausea on there, so that's a 6 credit remote to break with battering ram.
Yeah. Look great.
Which is I don't know, it's as good as getting through with any other. Like Corroder wouldn't get through any cheaper.
I used to be on Inti and dedicated processor, which I don't know. I was not satisfied. It's not bad, but it's just kind of awkward at times.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not great.
That would have been a more expensive server for Inti with dedicated processor, right?
Right.
That's what I was expecting. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I don't know, Carl. Were there any like moments? What do you think was the turning point in these games for you, or was there a specific play that you felt like, really defined the match for you?
There probably was. I would like to watch the replay and get a sense of it. I think in the last game,
Sure.
I kind of regretted putting down the CFC contract with the ultraviolet clearance.
Mm-hmm.
It felt, I don't know, I just got the sense that it wouldn't get run, but obviously that was wrong. So I think in retrospect, I would have preferred to put something on RD instead.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I had an inside job in hand, so that was going to be my indexing play.
Yes, I was thinking you would do
that. But I didn't see any agendas when I hit it, so I just let the Mirage fire for the next one, hoped an agenda would float up to the top.
Yeah, the inside was actually quite a smart inclusion with the Mirage.
Yeah, Mirage is a good piece of ice, though, but indexing is such a strong card that you really need. Because that's like the mandatory tech for cache refreshes, Mirage and indexing.
Yep, absolutely.
I ended up cutting all my indexings for the maker side, basically because I kept running into Mirage. So.
Yeah, Maker's Eye is better through Mirage, but
I mean, it's not quite as good.
And then you can. How do you like that little vamp move, hitting R&D over and over again?
Yeah, that was interesting. It seemed like it was. I mean, being able to see Carl's hand, it seemed like that was going to be an uphill battle if he wanted to take a turn to pop off a couple hedge funds and IPO, but yeah. Cool.
It's the closest thing to vamp you got now is getting to repeatedly res Mirage.
Sweet. Mike, do you have any thoughts about this match?
Let's see. Knowing what you do about the cards that are going to be released soon, do you think these are archetypes that you'll continue playing in the future, potentially next Cash Refresh tournament, or do you think other things are going to come out that either invalidate them or that are stronger?
So I think my kit tech is kind of a mess. There is, in principle, a Mopus in there, but I don't know, I just didn't find any means to draw it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Shape with Mopus is a lot better in the new Shape already, Kabonesa.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to play a new Cash Refresh tournament today, I would stick with that idea, I think.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I don't know, I was decently happy, I think, with CI. So
looks strong.
it was certainly fun. Gives you a lot of opportunities to mix up the deck in between rounds as well, if that's your thing.
Cool.
I mean, with the MWL changes they announced today, I guess like Cash Refresh CI is a lot closer to what like regular CI is going to look like going forward too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Because you don't have Violet level clearance, you don't have Mother Goddess, you don't have all these other like cards that. I mean, you got moons. You have to decide if you want to take moons or Fairchild, I guess, and that's the big choice first.
Could you actually do Moon CI and cache refresh? Would that be feasible?
I seen it, yeah.
Yeah.
I lost all the
It's not
games
as
I played with
fast,
it.
not as fast as other games, but yeah.
Well, cool.
I think in principle
yeah,
it's
I
feasible.
don't
It's
know.
just unfortunately you're missing important stuff like Jeeves, and you don't have the big win conditions like Sandberg and Lakshmi that you have in standard.
Mhm.
So it
don't
makes money, but
have
doesn't
that
have
much draw
many
either.
slots to devote to the ice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
like, and if you're using ultraviolet, you're only installing one card too, so it's tough
Yeah.
to have as good as like something that gets you a bunch of cards all at the same time.
Mhm.
What would you do it with? Like, guess you could do it with the Legal Arms Factory, right?
Yeah.
Get that draw going.
Yeah.
But the Legal Arms Factory is so tempting to trash. It's like it's 6 credits now, but as long as I make more than 6 runs in the rest of the game, I'm gonna be making the money back, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so I always end up icing my arms factories when I try to play with them, and it just doesn't feel like worth it if I have to res ice for it too, and it's a 3 credit card.
What's the new HP reprisal card? Has that been spoiled yet?
oh,
I think it's runner loses 3
think
clicks next
so.
turn,
Oh.
and the
Oh, yeah,
option is brain damage. So it basically says runner takes a brain damage.
Right.
right, yeah.
Or loses 3 clicks, I don't know. But brain damage probably hurts less.
Probably.
I mean, if it was Corp gets 3 clicks, then it would definitely be take a brain damage. But
Yeah, that'd be
I mean-
that'd be awesome. I mean, for the corp,
Yeah.
not the runner.
Yeah.
and I guess if you have an MCA austerity policy down and use the reprisal card, and they don't take the brain damage, then you just get 2 turns in a row.
That
Mhm.
seems pretty solid.
Yeah, that's actually that would be super nice. I'm looking at the card right now. It costs 2, so
That's
you know,
bad
2
at all.
to 2 in an MCA click to say I get to score out of 5-3 isn't bad.
Let's see what else we got coming up. They got City Works project coming up for Wayland.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
That's
the
a
protecting 5/3. Is that right?
yeah, that's the meat damage one.
Yep.
Yeah.
That could be good. And then they got the what's the SSO do? Choose a piece of ice and place advancement tokens on it. Oh, for each advanced agenda point on all installed face-up agendas. That's not very good. That's not gonna. Nobody's gonna play that in cache refresh.
Yeah. I think.
There's no face-up agendas in cache refresh. That doesn't do anything good.
Yeah, I
Well,
think
there's one City Works project.
that's fair. Yeah.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that like moving forward, SSL, what's it called? SSL certification. Is that the one?
That's a good one.
I think.
5/3.
But yeah.
I think that opens up punitive decks. I think there's only 2 punitives in the core set.
Yeah.
But you know, as long as Obokata is in the mix, you've got some good options there, and MG is also a nice shot in the arm for that sort of play.
Yeah.
So I could see like a kill focused Jinteki doing well moving forward as well.
Yeah, it's.
I think with
one of
SSL,
the-
if you're
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
well with like the SSL, if you install Advanced It, it's only netting you like 7 credits, and you're losing 2 clicks on it. So if you want to get it stolen for the money, you want to put it out like naked without advancing it at all.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you don't, if you don't want to invest resources in it, because that decreases your like payback on it. And then if you are like if you're actually scoring it, it only gets you a little bit more money back than like I don't know. It doesn't get you as much as corporate sales team.
That's true. Corporate sales team is
It gets you 3 points though,
out
which
there,
is
yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little bit too big of a liability to actually like be worth it in a lot of decks though. It's like giving 3
Potentially,
points up to the runner. Yeah. I mean, it's good to get money, but it's better if you can get like the full 9 credits back for it, and it's best if you can get it without giving the runner, 2 Project Vitruviuses away from victory.
fair enough.
One thing I could see is if you're able to rush fast enough, it's very nice to kind of live off the SSL credits, right?
Absolutely.
It gives you just
Corporate
enough
sales
to
team
res
doesn't-
the next piece of ice, which lets you get the next agenda, and then at that point you're at 5 points.
I think SSL could potentially be a really good include for a really fast rush Wayland deck with corporate sales team where they're scoring agendas and resing cheap ice as a way to like keep their econ going.
Cool.
Yeah.
But those decks are
One
are-
regret I have about this Cash Refresh format is that Red Tree is in the last pack, so we won't really get to use that in an event unless there's a big gap between Guitar Cycle and the next one.
Well, he did a
'Cause
tournament between yeah. We did have that big gap. That was nice when we got the full like Red Sands and like Flashpoint meta for like an entire Cash Refresh event. That was a good time.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool. What about runner
Mutui
side?
Mawakundo.
How are we feeling about runner side? Is 419 good enough to make criminal a going affair here?
Oh,
I mean, I
You
think
get-
the big deal
you
for
get
criminal
6
will be the new
gambles.
seven, right? Just coming
Was
in
that
the last pack. I would think the big thing for criminal will be the diversion of funds, which coming in the last pack. I think that will make a much bigger difference than 419.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry.
think
The
that's true.
diversion of what?
Diversion of funds, like the new siphon, basically.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Criminal gets 3 pretty good cards that pack. They get Diversion of Funds. They get the Pad Tap, which is
Yep.
well, I guess that's not quite as good in Cash Refresh because you don't have as many pad campaigns and stuff running around.
Which one was Pat Tap
But
again? It's
it's the first time the corp gains credits through a card ability each turn, you may gain 1 credit,
that's right. Yeah,
and then the corp can trash
that
it for a
include
click
hedge
and
fund?
3.
yeah, that's right.
Includes hedge fund, yeah, because that's a card ability.
No. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I try not to click for credits when I'm playing Corp. I can't imagine anybody's going to be like, oh, well, I'll make a deck that depends on clicking for credits to get around Pat Tap.
Yeah, that's fair. And then they get the big decoder, which obviously the number in the top left, 7, is pretty terrible. But if you can somehow get around it costing 7, it breaks every relevant ice for not very many credits.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. I think Adam is probably looking real good too. With I mean, speaking of ways to get cards out for cheap, emergent creativity is looking pretty
Oh,
solid.
yeah. Yeah.
Losing Find the Truth is
Wait,
kind of a
Amina.
problem,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, we've got some cool tools coming out. I'm looking forward to the future rounds of Cash Refresh.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, and Standard obviously too, but
Yeah.
you know, Cash Refresh is this fun little micro format that it's fun to figure out.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
I think my biggest regret about Cash, or biggest, I don't know, gripe about the format is that you only get 1 core set, which is kind of weird.
know.
It doesn't seem like intentional that there's 1 Ash and also randomly like 1 shipment from Miramorph.
Yeah,
I mean,
The source is
I gotta
a
play
lot
2 ice balls.
better with 3 fall.
Yeah, right. Only 1 fall guy for the source.
It's so sad.
yeah.
I can include maximum 2 femmes, even if I wanted a third.
Yeah.
1 stim hack. That's the biggest crime, in my opinion.
yeah, that's actually crazy.
Yeah.
Cool.
At least you get multiple inside
we're gonna have
jobs.
to end this in a minute here, but if you guys have any last thoughts to share before we terminate this thing.
No, best of luck forwards, and thanks for the games.
Oh yeah, you too.
Cool. Well, good luck out there.
See you
James.
next time.
Yeah, congrats to both of you. Great run this far, and good luck going forward, James.
Yeah, really good games. I hope that
Alright.
you enjoyed the chance to
Yeah,
watch them.
fantastic
I think
games.
it'll be cool to get your opinion on how things went as time goes on.
Yep, we're good.
Oh yeah. All right, well, catch you guys next time.
All right. Take it
See
easy.
you.
See
Thank
you
you
later.
again, Michael,
Bye.
for your commentary. Very valuable, and it's always a pleasure. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, you as well.
And a big thanks to John Meunier, Fighting Walloon, for putting this tournament on. It's always a really good time. So really appreciate your effort into organizing, and hope to see you all soon. Thanks.
If anyone out there is watching but doesn't play in the Cash Refresh tournaments, join the next one. It's a bunch of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super fun. We're pretty nice, but we're not that nice.
We're nice until we play Obokata Protocol.
Yeah, that sounds right. All right, take it easy, y'all. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Bye.
See ya.